The invasion of these ferocious monsters is carried out by this brutal army of red fire ants. Although they appear extremely small, they are steadily destroying the global ecosystem. Our planet. Every second, about 13 million tons of seawater evaporate, forming massive clusters of clouds in the sky. The Earth's rotation and natural wind directions push these enormous clouds toward the Amazon in South America, the largest tropical rainforest in the world. Annual rainfall here reaches up to 3,000 millimeters, making it one of the wettest places on Earth. When raindrops strike the leaves, rainwater flows down the trunks to the ground. For thousands of years, relentless rains, year after year, have submerged vast areas along the Amazon River. Animals living here either excel at climbing among the branches or have learned to endure and adapt. Only these tiny red fire ants turn floods into an opportunity for the survival of their entire species. When red fire ant scouts detect that their route has been blocked by floodwaters, the soil at the nest entrance begins to seep with water. An alarm is quickly transmitted through antenna contact. The entire red fire ant colony launches an emergency flood response. Thousands of citizens underground quickly use their mandibles to carry wriggling larvae to safety. Soldier ants close in around them, responsible for protecting the evacuation. Floodwaters rapidly submerge the nest. Red fire ants accelerate as fast as possible. As a social insect species, commands are passed among them. Order is born from chaos. When the first red fire ant hooks its legs tightly onto the thorax of a nestmate, then the second, the third, countless red fire ants weave together like a miraculous net, clinging tightly to one another, layer upon layer, forming a living, coiled lifeboat. The ultra-fine hairs covering their bodies come into play. Each hair traps a tiny bubble of air on the surface. These air bubbles act as cushioning material, filling and lifting the lifeboat to float on the water's surface. Not a single ant is left behind. Even if swept away by the current, it immediately struggles back to the raft and latches on to its teammates again. The queen ant is tightly protected at the center of the raft, while the larvae are wrapped in multiple layers by workers, hidden in the safest position, the core. Through cooperation, they remain firmly afloat, avoiding the tragic fate of sinking to the bottom. The collective strength at this moment creates a miracle of life. The lifeboat drifts with the current into deeper waters. Red fire ants face their first life or death challenge. A water bug surfing across the surface approaches. Its proboscis is like a hypodermic needle, capable of draining an ant in an instant. But united red fire ants are incredibly powerful. They possess deadly venom. Once attacked, they launch an immediate collective counterattack. The water bug hastily retreats, but the real deadly threat lurks beneath the surface. Flooded forests are full of fish. Red fire ants are no match for them. The living lifeboat is like a floating sandwich, attracting schools of fish that tear into it. Members are lost one by one to the fish, yet the lifeboat never falls apart. Driven by the current, they drift helplessly through the floods for weeks on end. A palm tree rising above the water appears ahead. Red fire ants dispatch scouts to investigate. The previous occupant of the palm branch is ruthlessly driven away by venom and sharp mandibles. After confirming it is safe, they begin to move like an army, orderly transporting the queen and larvae onto this apartment building. This palm tree becomes their temporary shelter and supply station. Their goal is to find suitable land, to return underground and reproduce. You may never have known that these tiny ants could become the #1 killer of the global ecosystem. Back in the 1930s, the United States imported red fire ants from South America. They quickly took root in lawns, farms, and parks. A single nest can contain hundreds of queens. One queen lays 5,000 eggs per day, producing hundreds of thousands of new members daily. In a new environment without natural predators, they are omnivores, aggressive. Wherever they go, native arthropod populations decline by 40%. They hunt insects, destroy bird nests, gnaw on crops, directly severing ecological chains. Even more terrifying, they can chew through electrical wires and pack mud into equipment. Annual power outage losses in the US caused by red fire ants reach billions of dollars. Today, using the United States as a springboard, red fire ants have invaded nearly 30 countries and regions. If you encounter them in the wild, stay away immediately. These ants may look small, but they contain massive venom. Once their nest is disturbed, they will swarm out and launch a collective attack. After being stung, in mild cases, swelling and pus occur. In severe cases, death occurs.